Some people and animals you just can't kill. They simply refuse to die, despite the unlikely odds of survival. So you throw a couple of nukes at me? Huh! I shrug it off and carry on. Sink 3 ships I'm on? Huh! No big deal. I won't say the people and animals featured tonight are lucky, but after you hear the stories of their lives and how they survived, you're probably going to be asking yourself, who could have lived through that? You're about to find out tonight! How did they survive? Gets deep, fat, fried.
Real question is, how do I survive one of these terrible Scotty episodes, huh?
You fucking wry, witty guy, TJ. Look at you.
I'm fucking so goddamn wry.
I showed Amelia Predator for the first time 2 nights ago.
What'd you think?
She fucking she really liked it.
Yeah?
Good.
Yeah. She agreed with Arnold. Like, Arnold has a quote that we read about it where he said that he wanted there to be like guys with tons of muscles because that's what really people wanted. And she was like, you know what? That movie really delivered. Like, that's basically what it was. It was like dudes with muscles doing their thing. I was like, yeah.
Oh
my God!
Well, if you expect, how is someone going to survive against
a little bromance with Jesse Ventura and his little black boyfriend there? That was my favorite.
That was woke.
Great,
we love our gays in the military, don't we, folks?
Always have. Yeah. Thank goodness for gays.
Well, it's almost a rule. The more masculine someone's supposed to be, generally, the more gay it ends up being.
Can't remember which wrestler it was, but it was like Vince McMahon fawning over this wrestler. It was like the reveal of some wrestler who was cut, it's like super cut. And Vince is like, you can tell he's like shaken up by it because the dude came out and did like all the poses and shit. And like Vince was like, oh my God, what a monster. Oh my God, look at that mass. Oh God. He just kept, like, you could just tell.
I'm going to be loving that tonight. I mean, we're going to be loving that tonight here on Raw.
You know, it's just like, man, dude, Vince, just be real.
Yeah, dude, it's 2021, man.
You can do it, Vince. You can come on out.
Come on out, Vince. It's okay. It's time to learn something. All right.
You know who this is, TJ?
I know this is
Shimigara Isakawa.
Wrong.
Okay.
Paul, who is it?
This is Miyazaki, the guy that scored all of those amazing JRPGs back from the 90s.
That's correct, Paul. No, it's actually not. This man,
Kobu Nakasago.
Yeah,
this guy right here.
Uematsu?
What?
No,
Paul, oh, racism, Paul.
No, that's actually his name. Nobuo Uematsu is the guy that did all those.
Nobuo.
Are
you talking about this guy here?
No, I was.
What are you talking about, Paul?
That guy.
Paul, you're going crazy, man.
Komatsu Mashiga.
Mitsubishi
Mitsubishi
Toyota
Galant!
Motorola.
Yasutake Shumkichi. Yes.
It gets more racist the longer we do it, but it's
The longer
still
you guys do it.
Tamagotchi Toyota.
Samurai Katana Cherry Blossom Honor. Shiitake
Any more?
Mushroom.
He might have survived whatever you're about to talk about, Scotty, but can he survive our fucking
Our witty, super fucking awesome critiques?
What do you think this guy survived, TJ?
He didn't survive our wry wits.
Well, he didn't survive that, but what did he?
Paul's making me put the word wry before wits now. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. He survived getting crushed by a train. He was run over by a train, and his fucking lower half was separated from his upper half, and they sewed him back together.
All right, Paul, what do you think?
I think he tested Japan's very first masturbation machine and almost had his cock ripped off by it. But they were able to sew it back.
Both very good guesses. This is the man who survived 2 atomic bombs.
Whoa. Wait. What?
Yes.
So he went to Hiroshima, and then he's like, I'll go escape to Nagasaki where it's safe.
This is Tsutomu Yamaguchi. So he was preparing to leave.
The ones I guessed.
Yeah, he was preparing to leave Hiroshima when the atom bomb fell. Not great luck. At the time, the 29-year-old naval engineer was on a 3-month-long business trip from his employer, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. So you guys were, he got his job right. And August 6, 1945 was supposed to be his last day in the city. My final day in the lovely city of Hiroshima.
Man, that's some dumb fucking, that's some shit luck right there.
Yes, it is. So, him and his colleagues, it's been the summer working, long hours. They're designing a new oil tanker. He's looking forward to getting back home. He's got an infant son. He's like, I'm going to see my kid. I'm going to see my wife. I've been in this fucking goddamn hot-ass city for 3 months. Time to go home. Unfortunately for him, around 8:15 that morning, he was walking to Mitsubishi shipyard. A final time when he heard the drone of an aircraft overhead. Oh, what's that? He looked up to the sky, which you hear that sound. He saw an American B-29 bomber over the city and draw a small object connected to a parachute. I actually can even show you. This is the Enola Gay.
Yeah.
Which is a plane that dropped.
Super gay.
The Fat Man, the atom bomb.
TJ,
being gay.
TJ, if you really want to step it up from the nanner,
you
gotta
need to shove
go,
the Enola up my ass.
Yeah, dude, go to the fucking National Aerospace Museum or wherever where the Enola Gay is and stuff that in your fucking ass for your next one.
Yeah.
Dude. Then you'll never hear about the banana again.
That's the dude that shoved the entire Enola Gay up his ass.
Here is the atomic bomb being dropped on Hiroshima. Video contains no sound, so don't worry about audio.
I'll provide some sound. Tango 1 2, Tango 1 2.
Time to nuke these Japs.
Why no like snappy 20s announcer voice guy? That's what this really needs.
That.
Dun, 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 the boys.
Snaps down to hell where they belong.
Look at the devastation that remains after our new weapon is delivered into the hands of the Japs. Dun, 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 dun. Some may think these images cruel, but we would remind the viewers to remember Pearl Harbor and the cruelty of that day.
Take that, Japan! Take that!
So these are people that did not do very well when they were near this bomb when it went off. But this dude looks like you said he survived it, right?
Yes. And actually I have some images to show you guys right now. So you get
he was afraid. He was petrified. I'm not going to go any further, but it's already in your head. So
this is a pre-war photo of Hiroshima's downtown. Looks okay. Looks nice. Look at that. Yeah.
Cool. Looking good. Looking good.
And this
Looking
is actually
sharp.
the famous, in the background here's this famous dome that actually was standing even after the attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to give you an idea what Japan looked like in the 40s there in Hiroshima.
It's all in black and white. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, people didn't have color then. Aerial view. Yeah, it's pretty densely built up, as you can see. Now,
Not long.
Yep, pre-war photo. Oh, here's the bomb.
It's a pretty big bomb.
So, nearly 80,000 people are believed to be being killed immediately, with another 60,000 survivors dying of injuries and radiation exposure by 1950.
Yeah, those are the ones that are really unlucky.
Yeah, the ones that get vaporized, like, they at least just get killed immediately. They don't have to even realize what's going on.
Like, what's that? Boom, dead, you know? Not much there.
So you have a line of people waiting for emergency treatment. Obviously, a number of those people died in that line, of course. Here's the survivors receiving treatment from military medics. Here's the devastation on the ground. I guess this is a bombed out. This is actually the railway station, which was miraculously still operating after the attack. And here's Hiroshima afterwards.
Not much.
Where's it at?
Yeah,
Is it hold on, go back up. Is it behind that mountain back there? It's a pretty distant photo, Scotty. Why'd you show us this endless prairie in front of a mountain that has the city next to it, Scotty? Terrible choice of pictures, Scotty.
Sorry, Paul. Yeah, look. Everything's looking great there. Everything's just debris. Yeah,
so
look at the little kid
one house and it looks like it burned one kid. I mean, what's the big deal?
Yeah, that's all it did. Yeah, look at that, Paul. This goes on for miles.
Yeah, that guy's got a big piece of property there with that house. He's got nothing for miles around,
Yeah, no neighbors to worry about, of course. Direction of blast, chalk marks and outlines of the feet of a victim caught in the explosion. The intense heat of the initial flash of the detonation seared every nearby surface, leaving inverted shadows, like those seen by the bridge left by railings and a person who'd been standing in that place. So that's where a person was standing. It was the heat of the explosion caused them to be marked on that bridge forever, or as long as it existed.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. It's the heat of the moment.
Post office savings bank, Hiroshima. Shadow of window frame left on fiberboard walls made by the flash of the detonation. So you can see that here. It was so bright, it basically almost creates something like you would see like an X-ray or something.
Right.
Kind of fucking crazy.
Do you remember that fucking toy from the 90s where like you would you'd like pose in front of it and you do like the flash and then it would like cast like a thing behind you, of like
yeah
how you were posed and stuff. What the fuck was that thing called? Anyway, it's kind of like that.
What was it? What are you talking about? Which one?
You might have been a little old for it, Paul.
Yeah, it was maybe a little after your time or whatever, but it was like they give you like a little plastic sheet thing, and like you could stand in front of it, and then you flashed a light, and then your silhouette was like stuck there. Like,
oh, I remember that shit.
Yeah.
It's like that photosensitive paper or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, but it was like I think it was some kind of plastic, but whatever. Yeah,
Whatever
yeah, something like that. It was pretty cool, though. It maybe gave us radiation poisoning or something, but you know what? It was fun.
I mean, yeah, it goes.
So suddenly the sky erupted in a blaze of light, which Yamaguchi later described as resembling the lighting of a huge magnesium flare. He had just enough time to dive into a ditch before the ear-splitting boom rang out. The shockwave that accompanied it sucked Yamaguchi from the ground, spun him in the air like a tornado, and sent him hurtling into a nearby potato patch. He had been less than 2 miles from ground zero.
Apparently,
I didn't know
all those potatoes were nicely baked instantly. So
I guess so. So he had food to eat. I didn't know what had happened. He later told British newspaper The Times, "I think I fainted for a while. When I opened my eyes, everything was dark and I couldn't see much. It was like the start of the film at the cinema, before the picture had begun, when the blank frames are just flashing up without any sound. The atomic blast had kicked up enough dust and debris to nearly blot out the morning sun. Yamaguchi was surrounded by torrents of falling ash, and he could see a mushroom cloud of fire rising in the sky over Hiroshima. His face and forearm had been badly burned, and both of his eardrums were ruptured." Sounds like a fun time. He then wandered in a daze toward what remained of the Mitsubishi shipyard. There he found his coworkers Akira Iwanaga and Kanoshi Sato, both who've also survived the blast. So I guess that because it was such a almost over-engineered strong structure, they had kind of been protected by it. So after spending a restless night in the air raid shelter, the men awoke on August 7th, 1945, and made their way toward the train station, which, despite all this, was somehow still operating. So Japanese efficiency, I guess, even after they get nuked.
Let's go to Nagasaki. It'll be safe there.
A perilous journey, though. The journey took them through the nightmarish landscape of still flickering fires, shattered buildings, charred and melted corpses lining the streets. Many of the city's bridges had been turned into twisted wreckage, and at one river crossing, Yamaguchi was forced to swim through a layer of floating dead bodies. Sounds like a fun time. Yeah, I mean, you got to go through the fucking. I mean, when the fallout happens, if you survive, you're gonna see some shit.
And that's what happens, dude. Godzilla attacks. That's just how it fucking rolls.
Did he have his Pip-Boy to help him?
I believe he did.
Could he mark like the next stop on his Pip-Boy?
He had not discovered that rail station though, so he was not able to fast travel.
Fuck,
shit. That's fucked. Then he's in
trouble. You can't fast travel with enemies nearby either. So the Americans were still hanging around, watching.
Upon reaching the station, he boarded a train full of burned and bewildered passengers and settled in for the overnight ride to his hometown of Nagasaki.
Fucking goddamn, dude. Oops.
The luck of this dude is real bad, man. He just
man.
There's a reason that luck of the Irish is a term and luck of the Japanese ain't.
I mean, what a harrowing experience. And then, it's all right. I'm going to head home to Nagasaki and things will be just fine.
Everything's going to be just fine. Heading on down to Nagasaki where things are okay.
He returned to his wife and child. And, of course, the whole world was like, what the fuck just happened to Hiroshima? 16 hours after the explosion, President Harry Truman gave a speech that revealed the existence of the atom bomb for the first time.
It is harnessing of the basic power of the universe. The force from which the sun draws its power has been loosed against those who brought war to the Far East.
A B-29 bomber, which you saw earlier, called the Enola Gay, had taken off from the Pacific island of Tinian. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And flown some 1,500 miles before detonating a bomb known as the Little Boy. I'm sorry, I said Fat Man. It's actually the Little Boy in the skies over Hiroshima. The blast had immediately killed some 80,000 people, and of course, tens of thousands more would perish later. Truman warned in his statement that if the Japanese did not surrender, it could expect a, quote, a rain of ruin from the air, the like of which has never been seen on this earth. So now we have some pictures of Nagasaki here. Here's the devastation as well. So you get to see that. And this was actually a more powerful bomb.
Yeah, Hiroshima, that was just a warm-up.
I don't know how these kids are breathing, by the way, because they're wearing masks. I'm not really sure how they're able to breathe.
They must have just literally no asthma problems or allergies at all, because I've heard that those masks
through their palms, I believe.
Yeah,
so they have the gills and stuff.
Oh, the Japanese gills, of course.
Yeah, of course. So,
guys, here's the Fat Man, which was dropped on
me.
Nagasaki.
Oh, you're talking about? You're talking about the picture. I was looking at Paul. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just
that's
Little Boy and the Fat Man.
That's a low blow.
I'm sorry.
Dear God, right between Paul's legs and his plums. Oh, Paul's are on fire. Why, TJ? Why?
Dude, why such a sick burn, dude? Why are you roasting me, TJ?
I don't know. I'm just a jerk off. What is this? This is a hillside. Was there a city there at one point? Is that what's going on?
Is that a hillside, or is it Paul's rippling fat fucking ass, TJ? I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Who can say? This will disappoint you guys probably. The Roman Catholic Church of Urakami stands over the
What the fuck? Wait a minute. Hold on. What?
Urakami. It's right there.
Oh, okay. Urakami. Gotcha.
Yeah, stands over the scorched city landscape of Nagasaki, Japan. So, there it is. And here we can see it here. The remains of a factory were photographed September 1945 in the southern Japanese city of Nagasaki.
Dude, are we sure this guy really existed and he's not just like Japanese propaganda or whatever? To be like, look, here's a guy that survived both bombs.
So Yamaguchi's story is not even over yet, guys. So he arrived in Nagasaki early in the morning of August 8th and limped to the hospital. The doctor who treated him was actually a former classmate, but the blackened burns on Yamaguchi's hands and face were so severe, the man at first didn't even recognize him. He's like, okay, just another guy coming in here. I guess it's injured. Neither did his family. When he returned home afterwards, feverish and swaddled in bandages, his mother accused him of being a ghost.
Shit. She thought he was a ghost. She's like, you must be some kind of fucking ghost.
And dude, I never want to hear you guys ever say you can't show up to work again, ever. Despite being on the verge of collapse, Yamaguchi dragged himself out of bed on the morning of August 9th and reported to work in Mitsubishi's Nagasaki office. Hey. He survived an atom bomb. That motherfucker's still going to work the next day. That's dedication.
Yeah, and he's a hardworking man.
He certainly was. Around 11 a.m., he found himself in a meeting with the company director who demanded a full report on Hiroshima. God, give the guy a fucking break. Of course, he recounts the events, the blinding light, the deafening boom. But his superior accused him of being
just been
mad.
like, just wait a couple hours. You'll see.
No, his boss actually was like, you're fucking crazy. How could a single bomb destroy an entire city? Because to that point, it's preposterous. It's like, no, you need more than that. And he tried to explain, Yamaguchi tried to explain when the landscape outside suddenly exploded with the iridescent white flash. But the guy, he said he just dropped to the ground. There's a shockwave. And of course, office buildings and windows broke. So he basically is in the meeting with this guy trying to explain to him, hey, this shit was for real, and the nuke falls on Nagasaki.
I mean, that's a pretty good moment for it to happen, dramatically and shit,
Vindicated,
this is bullshit.
Too.
This is
because the guy's fucking like, that's bullshit. Ain't no single bomb could do that. And then all of a sudden it's like, Then you just be like, I told you.
He was quoted saying, I thought the mushroom cloud had followed me from Hiroshima. He later told the newspaper The Independent. Can you imagine that shit? So this dude fucking, yet again, and a Mitsubishi building gets nuked.
Yeah. It's like, not again. Wah, wah, wah.
The atom bomb that hit Nagasaki was even more powerful than the one dropped on Hiroshima. But as Yamaguchi would later learn, the city's hilly landscape and a reinforced stairwell had combined to muffle the blast inside the office. His bandages were blown off as he was hit by yet another surge of cancer-causing radiation, but he emerged relatively unhurt. For the second time in 3 days, he had the misfortune of being within 2 miles of a nuclear explosion, and for the second time, he'd been fortunate enough to survive.
You neglected to mention, Scotty, that he was in Japan when this happened, but he was actually born on the planet Krypton, so that explains this whole situation. He's a Kryptonian.
He must be.
Didn't hurt him twice. How does that see? This is almost unbelievable to me that a dude was at both atom bombings and then lived to tell the tale.
Actually, 165 people were documented as being in both cities, but he is the only person ever recognized by the Japanese government as having survived both.
Wow.
It happened right before his death, but we'll get to that in a second.
Dude, that was kind of dirty that we bombed cities that were so close enough together that a lot of the refugees from the first bomb were probably in the second city.
We were just trying to kill this guy, is the real truth. We're just like, goddamn Yamamoto Mitsubishi.
Well,
we gotta fucking stop him. But we failed.
Oh, it was just believed by the U.S. military and ally forces that taking out of Japan itself was going to lead to massive casualties. And they had this weapon. They're like, well, we can just use this shock and awe and they'll probably surrender. And ultimately did. After Nagasaki, they realized like, okay, there's just no way we can fight against this. Even if we have an army, they can just drop this bomb and they win. So after fleeing from the skeleton of the Mitsubishi building, he rushed through obviously the bomb-ravaged streets of Nagasaki to check on his wife and son, obviously fearing the worst. He'd already been through this once before. He soon found both who only had superficial injuries. His wife actually had been out looking for burn ointment for him when the explosion came. She and the baby had taken refuge in a tunnel. So just his family is also lucky as well. They happen to be in a fucking tunnel when this goes off, which I mean could collapse, but I guess they were far enough away where it didn't. It was yet another strange twist of fate. Of course, I have to agree there. If Yamaguchi hadn't been hurt at Hiroshima, his family might have been killed at Nagasaki. So I guess his luck held, and even for his family. In the days that followed, even though he took a double dose of radiation, his hair did fall out, and the wounds on his arm did turn gangrenous. And he began vomiting incessantly. Of course, he's suffering from radiation sickness, radiation poisoning. He was still languishing in a bomb shelter with his family on August 15th, when, of course, Japan finally surrendered. In his famous surrender broadcast, which actually the Japanese people believe they're going to be told to commit ritual suicide and fight and still resist. But they surrendered, and he had later said, "I had no feeling about it." He told the Times, "I was neither sorry nor glad. I was seriously ill with a fever, eating almost nothing, hardly even drinking, and I thought I was about to cross the other side." So he's like, "I'm fucking worm food. I don't give a shit. Japan surrendered or not."
Yeah, he's just like, whatever. The fight had already been taken out of him. He's just like, I don't want to fuck with this no more.
He lived a long life, though. Yamaguchi died in 2010 at the age of 93.
Jesus.
Yep.
Hit by 2 A-bombs and he lives till 93?
Yes, he did. He lived to be 93 years old. So he's one of the luckiest motherfuckers and most unlucky motherfuckers you could imagine.
And hard as a coffin fucking nail, too.
Yeah, went to work. Went to fucking work after he went through that. Like, let me just drag myself up. All right, I'm going to go to the Mitsubishi building in Nagasaki.
Hey
Tell
guys,
my boss.
I've Paul here. I've got a little bit of a stomach ache. Can we postpone filming today?
Yeah, I was like, I fucking was like, yeah, I need to fucking push filming back a fucking couple hours. I got a little bit of a headache, you guys. A little bit of a headache going on. This guy's like, yeah, I was nuked, but I think I'm good. I think I'm good to go.
Then his boss is like, bullshit. Come on, Yamaguchi. You expect me to believe that? You were loafing around. You see what I mean? You see what I fucking mean?
I told you.
A few years earlier, he was in the fucking, he was on the Hindenburg and shit. And the Titanic. He's the only man to survive the Hindenburg crash and the Titanic sinking and both atom bombs. And he was there on 9/11. He was in the fucking towers.
You ever heard of this guy?
Yeah, I know that is a Squeaks.
It could be Squeaks.
It is
probably not.
It's fucking Squeaks.
This is Unsinkable Sam.
Was he on the Titanic?
Have you ever heard the tale of Unsinkable Sam?
No. Was he on the Titanic? Was he on the Titanic, Scotty? Was he on the Titanic, Scotty?
He was not on the Titanic, TJ.
Boo. Episode sucks. Boo. Bad episode. Put him on the Titanic. Just tell me
this cute little cat.
Just tell me he was on the Titanic, Scotty. That's the only ship I know.
He was on the Lusitania.
He was on the Lusitania. Yeah.
But not the Titanic.
Sorry, man.
Yeah.
He was also on the space shuttle that blew up in the 80s.
Oh, he was on the Challenger, huh?
Yeah. He parachuted down out of that, too. That's what I heard.
So if it says Squeaks, TJ, I hate to break it to you.
Funny visual, dude.
But according to the lore, TJ, Unsinkable Sam, or Squeaks as you call him, started his career, in quotations, aboard a Nazi battleship.
It's a Nazi cat.
He was a little Nazi cat.
I mean, that sounds right.
Look, the cat, though, so we can't really blame him. He didn't really know what the Third Reich was up to.
He knew.
He had no say.
I mean, he's a cat. He doesn't really have a fucking, he doesn't really get a say. But after that ship was torpedoed, he was rescued by the British and he changed sides. He's like, okay, look, this didn't really work out. I'm gonna go on this other ship.
That's good for him.
TJ,
out of them fucking Nazis, you know.
Managed to escape 3 different attacks, totally unscathed. So here's the tale of it.
Wait a minute. 3 separate attacks? And
yes.
He lived them all?
This is basically, we'll say, apocryphal and a legend. This is not known for sure, but there is this basically portrait of him that purports to have him on a piece of floating driftwood or board or whatever, and that's supposed to be Unsinkable Sam. I don't know why someone would create that. Maybe they heard the legend and they thought it sounded cool, but let's take this with a grain of Paul. Grab yourself some Paul.
Sprinkle it.
That's an interesting story. sprinkle it, but most of history, you kind of have to do that. The Kriegsmarine, or the Nazi Navy, launched the battleship Bismarck in 1939, mere months before the Reich invaded Poland and kicked off World War II. By 1941, the ship had reached the northern part of the Atlantic Ocean in an attempt to sabotage the naval envoys carrying supplies between Canada and the UK. Well, that's a good mission. I mean, Canada doesn't need any supplies. Aboard the Bismarck was a crew of about 2,200 members, and it was said that among them was Unsinkable Sam, a black and white colored cat, the tuxedo cat. So kind of, it would look like Squeaks, TJ. So it could have been Squeaks. We don't know. He could be a time traveling cat.
I think Squeaks. That is Squeaks. I mean, fucking blow that image up a little bit.
All right.
Let me go get Squeaks. You be the fucking judge.
All right. Was it Squeaks that actually survived this attack that we're about to talk about here?
Doesn't Squeaks have like the little tip of his tail white?
Oh, shit. We'll have to see. While he was doing that, the Bismarck was destroyed during a intense 3-day battle against the British Royal Navy on May 27th, 1941. As it sunk, only 114 of the ship's passengers survived, one of them being Unsinkable Sam. Of course, as the legend goes, another battleship, the HMS Cossack, began attempting to rescue survivors of the sunken Bismarck in the open sea. Crew members spotted the Lucky Cat as it was seeking refuge on a floating plank. And of course, this is supposed to be the famous image of Sam. Floating on a plank, just chilling.
I mean, he doesn't look like he's all that bothered by it.
Yeah, okay, let's see.
Is it Unsinkable Squeaks, dude?
He doesn't want to fucking be recognized. Look.
Oh, he doesn't want the truth to be revealed. Show us his tail.
Well, dude, number one, Squeaks already has more of a tuxedo shirt than Unsinkable Sam does. He's got bigger boots. Let's see the tip of his tail.
It's an artist rendering, Paul. Artist rendering. So maybe he didn't get Squeaks quite right.
Show me the
his tail. Oh, nope. Is it?
Is it?
No.
It's all black.
Nope, it's all black. Oh, shit.
Maybe he is.
Squeaks, where have you been? Where have you been? Where were you on May 27th, 1941, Squeaks? Where were you?
You remember that, Squeaks? Remember being on the ship?
You little time-traveling demon?
Dude,
remember that?
Squeaks is perturbed right now. He is not wanting to be ogled.
I woke him up. He's a little mad.
He's not wanting to be ogled. He's pissed.
He's a tired kitty.
Oh.
So he was brought up. So Squeaks, or Unsinkable Sam, was brought aboard the Cossack and given the name Oscar, which is also sometimes spelled with a K because of his German origin. Oscar. You are from Deutschland.
Oscar.
But 7 months later, the Cossack suffered a disaster of its own when it was sunk by the German torpedo. But yet again, Oscar was rescued by crew in the aircraft carrier HMS Ark Royal. It was while aboard the ship that Oscar is said to have received his famous nickname, Unsinkable Sam. And as fate would have it, TJ, the nickname would once again prove true. On November 14th, 1941, about a month after he was reportedly rescued, the Ark Royal was torpedoed. The ship was decimated, but Unsinkable Scam.
No one ever just say to themselves, like, maybe this cat's bad luck to have around? Like, you know,
maybe the cat.
I mean, you could be like, this is one lucky cat, or you could be like, this cat brings misfortune everywhere he goes. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's the fact that he survived. They didn't say the ship was unsinkable. They said he was unsinkable.
Dude,
well, I know, but I'm like, he was on a lot of ships that fucking got sank, though.
We could write like a horror movie about Unsinkable Sam, just pitch it that way. Like, you know, sailor sees a cat and he's like, that cat was there. I was trying to plug the holes with pitch and he bit me on me ankle and I yelped in pain and that's when the sea rushed in. That cat sunk the boat. It was him.
The Ark Royal was torpedoed. The ship was decimated. Of course, Sam made it off just fine. And he was allegedly rescued for a third time by the HMS Legion, another ship under the British Royal Navy's fleet. It's good to be Sam. Not good to be those other sailors, but it's good to be Sam.
I guess so. I mean, he skirted death more times than most sailors get to being on a sinking ship.
You damn right. So what happened to Sam after the third shipwreck? According to the British Royal Museum in Greenwich, the cat retired to land, where he was placed in the offices of the governor of Gibraltar. He was later adopted by
a stapler fell on his head and he died.
Yeah, he was later adopted by a seaman who lived in Belfast, and that is where he died in 1955.
Yeah.
He drowned in semen in Belfast in 1955?
Yeah, that's what fucking finally took him out, dude.
Poor guy.
So, as we're about to see in this next one here, so some people report this is Sam. They're like, this is a picture of Sam. But there's an issue with that, because we saw the first portrait. The two cats
didn't have this little white line going up, and his nose wasn't dark either, I don't think.
But both of the portraits, this picture and the pastel painting, show him as a tuxedo cat. One is made of pastel drawing by an unknown artist, which is him floating on the piece of wood. We were talking about that. There's also a portrait of a cat sometimes believed to be Unsinkable Sam, but most suspect that it's actually another famous ship cap named Simon. And you can see here, if you look at this portrait, you can see in the photograph that he's wearing a collar that's clearly inscribed the HMS Amethyst 1949. So it's probably not Sam. And that is the legend of Unsinkable Sam.
Cat. They ain't fucking survived shit. That cat's fucking dead. Look at that dead ass cat.
All these cats are alive in the fucking 40s, TJ. 50s.
Yeah, and now they're fucking dead.
Well, of course.
I thought this episode, you know what? I find it kind of ironic, Scotty. You fucking come to us with this episode and you're like, this is about people who survived. It's like, get both the fucking people you've covered, Hitsumato, Greganuchi, or whatever the fuck, and this cat.
Tsutomu Yamaguchi.
Yeah, both dead.
Yeah, but he survived the incredible.
Point is, I thought we were going to talk about people who survived, Scotty. These are not survivors. These are dyers, Scotty.
They survived the incredible events.
Your fucking cat is dead. Your fucking Japanese guy is dead. So far, episode's totally fucking false.
Well, dude, according to you, nobody ever survives anything then. Survival means eternal life.
We've all survived. I'm here. You guys are here. We've survived so far.
Okay, but if someone makes this an episode about us in 2080, TJ, no, we're all dead.
Maybe.
I mean,
maybe we're dead. Maybe we're not. Depends on if we survived or not.
Okay.
If we're not alive by then, we didn't survive. Your people did not survive. The episode's false. False episode.
You haven't been through the entire episode yet, TJ. So you
deeply flawed premise, Scotty. Deeply, deeply flawed. Whoa, Space Cat? Is that a Space Cat? Dude. Whoa.
This is Félicette, the first cat in space.
And these tuxedo cats get up to some shit.
They do, man. So, kind of a crazy story. Cat. A stray cat picked up on the streets of Paris and trained to be an astronaut. Sounds like every cat's dream, right?
Yeah. Cats love it. Cats like, please send me into fucking space.
She is actually the first and only known cat to have survived a space trip.
Oh.
Only one.
Not the only one they sent up there, just the only one to come back.
The black and white cat's unlikely ascent to stardom began in the early 60s when Francis, I'm not going to try to fucking pronounce it because I don't know how to fucking French.
Pronounce it.
But it's called Surma. It's the center.
No. Come on now.
It's not. I'm not going to read it right.
There's no
way.
Give it a shot.
It's just going to be an insult.
Do it.
I don't know how to pronounce French words. I'm not going to do it.
Do it. Do it. Please. I want you to try.
I'm going to fucking completely butcher it, utterly and totally.
I know. That's why I want you to do it.
Well, you just want to do it to embarrass me, TJ. You just want me to be embarrassed. Okay, but even if I read it to you, it's not going to be, and you're not going to be any closer to understanding what I'm talking about.
That's fine.
Okay, I'll read it just so TJ can fucking shut the fuck up.
All right.
Francis Center. I don't know if you pronounce the D in French. D in Enseignement et de Recherches de Médecine Aéronautique.
Cool. I don't think that was that far off. Fuck.
CERMA is the acronym. Chooses more than a dozen cats to compete in a rigorous space training program. The French had previously launched 3 cats into space and apparently decided to upgrade to larger animals to study their bodily response to weightlessness. So, the Astro cats in training were subjected to compression chambers, small containers, and a centrifuge, all in an effort to find a feline that was the best fit for space, and it actually did ultimately pay off. Félicette ultimately proved herself, and in October 1963, she was strapped into a container inside a Voronique rocket and launched from a base in the Sahara Desert. She flew about 100 miles above Earth and spent several minutes in zero gravity, all while scientists monitored her progress via the electrodes implanted in her brain. Actually, we have some video of her.
Dude, look at that cat. She looked chill as fuck. Like, that cat did not look like she wanted to go to space.
Yeah, she wanted to be in space.
Cat was meant for space.
And here she is, guys.
Mm-hmm.
She's purring.
Space cat.
Yeah, dude, she's purring away.
It's all in French, so.
Italy.
So
That cat doesn't want to go to space. That cat's like, no.
The cat, one of the cats that was going to be best in this. So they evaluate all these different cats, and the one that was the most chill, which is Félicette, was ultimately the one that was sent into space.
I was just like, I don't give a fuck. Send me to space.
Yeah, damn, are they plugging something into Félicette's brain?
Yeah.
They did surgically implanted electrodes into her brain.
Whoa.
Which I don't necessarily agree with, but I mean, it happened before I was even born. And that's
dude, she was a fucking cyborg cat. That's some cyberpunk 2077 shit right there. She had a data jack that she could jack into things into her brain. Yeah.
So they would get data back. Here's the rocket that I think she ultimately went up in. Yep. Here's their I think she's about to be put into it.
Dude.
Space cat. Fucking France. Only they fucking put a goddamn wire, a chip in a cat's head and send it into fucking space.
The French. What do you want? What do you fucking want from the French?
Oui, oui.
I think. Oh, there she is meowing.
Whoa.
12 chats avaient été éliminés, il en restait 2 en compétition et finalement, c'est Félicette.
Let us abuse this cat. Okay.
Let us now abuse this poor cat.
Yeah.
Here she's about to go into space.
Damn. There she goes. Cyborg cat in space. And this is basically the entire French space program, right?
Yeah. This was the beginning and middle of the French space program.
And this is the data they're receiving back from her during her space flight.
They really got a lot out of it.
They got these lines, and it shows you the separation. So this is the rocket coming back to Earth.
Fucking French people. Pieces of goddamn shit.
This is actually them recovering her.
Yeah.
And as you're about to see, she is alive. She made the journey.
Okay.
I think that's just them talking about it. We'll just go back to an image of her. Yep. If we go to the very beginning, we can see her. There you go.
Yeah. So then what happened? There's that it.
No, that's not it. Then almost as soon as she arrived, the capsule detached from the rocket, and she parachuted safely to the ground and was retrieved by scientists. The trip lasted a total of about 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Félicette's journey to outer space was preceded by Laika, the Russian street dog who became the first animal to orbit the Earth aboard Sputnik 2 in 1957. However, unlike Laika, who died in space, she returned home to live out the rest of her days. Sadly, these French scientists were fucking pricks, and they euthanized her a few months later to study the impact of space travel on her brain.
Yeah, sounds right.
So, fuck the French. They're terrible people. Although her adventures were cut short, many people wanted to preserve her legacy. In the 1990s, a commemorative postage stamp was issued in her memory in some former French colonies.
Commemorative postage stamp? Well, we sent you into space and then murdered you to study your brain. We probably learned nothing, by the way.
And misgendering even happens to cats because, however, those stamps incorrectly identified her as a male cat named Felix.
Oh,
So,
God. What a
even
piece of shit country.
even happens to cats.
Hashtag nuke France.
Yeah, dude.
But she actually got a memorial, which is kind of cool. This happened very recently. A guy did a Kickstarter, and this is at the, I believe, at the International Space University in Strasbourg, France. 2 years after Matthew Sergei Guy, a creative director and a space cat fan in London, launched a Kickstarter campaign and raised about $57,000 to fund the project. And you can see her. This is her little memorial plaque here. Very nice little statue for her. Now, if you're wondering, TJ, like, oh, you know, whatever. I mean, she was the first cat to go into space. Whatever. Well, how about another cat we'll talk about? And this one's not named, but a second cat was launched into space by the French on the 24th of October, 1963. An explosive bolt that would release the rocket from the launch pad failed to function, causing the rocket to launch at an extreme angle. The radio transponder stopped working on the launch pad, which created difficulties in finding the rocket. A helicopter spotted the parachute but was unable to land, so the agency dispatched ground vehicles. They were unable to get past some barbed wire. Sounds like the fucking French, right? The next day,
what do we do with this barbed wire? How do we get past such an infernal device? Oh, we are defeated. Give me the white flag, brothers. Let us wave it. This barbed wire fence, it has beaten us. Sacre bleu, no.
the next day, a helicopter was again dispatched and was able to land.
Did they surrender to that helicopter when it came back with the cat?
Look,
it's a helicopter. Get the white flags. Oh, wait, never mind. It's the cat coming back. Never mind. Put the white flags away, mon ami. We
the
live
nose
free
cone.
another day in France.
The nose cone where the payload was housed was heavily damaged, and the cat had died. So
They didn't. Well, he didn't survive then.
No, this is the other cat they sent up.
Oh.
So the second cat was launched into space. So they tried it again because they're like, oh, we had success. It malfunctioned during its flight. Ultimately crashed, and the cat died.
Yeah.
I gotta piss. You guys just make fun of the French for another minute.
Okay. I don't do as good of an accent as Paul, but I think it maybe makes it a little funnier anyway. It's such a bad one. We surrender, huh?
People would probably be like, oh, it's insensitive to like paint a whole nation of people with the same broad brush, but like, you know, like what about France do you need to know other than like baguette, wine, and surrender?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those are the three things.
Like, if I was to walk up to anybody on the street and be like, all right, baguette, wine, surrender, they'd be like, France?
What is France?
Correct, sir. You know?
Yeah.
It's easy. It's easy. Easy peasy.
What would the US's 3 words be?
Fat,
stupid, in charge.
Yeah, that works. I don't know. It's not as immediate, honestly.
Yeah.
Just be like, okay, so baguette would be replaced by cheeseburger. So you say cheeseburger, then cheeseburger, beer. What would you replace for surrender?
Football.
Fuba. Cheeseburger, beer, football.
I'm pretty sure that's going to get 90% of people to say the right.
Yeah,
country.
people would be like, America?
Like, America?
Yeah. America.
Fuck yeah. Come on.
How many cats did we send into space? None.
5 million. 5 million.
None.
Dude, how do you do Iceland? I know the 3 words you would use for Iceland.
What?
Okay.
Bjork.
Bjork.
Talking about Iceland?
Shut up, TJ. Shut up. No shut up means? TJ. Any of the Dr. Evil shit on you? Zip it. Zip. So this one actually, Paul, you might even remember this. I don't know how much you kept up with the news, but this happened in the 90s. In the spring of 1996, American pathologist Beck Weathers embarked on a long trek up Mount Everest. But his dream, of course, would soon turn into a nightmare.
Oh no!
Didn't see that one coming, did you?
Didn't see that word choice coming.
I thought you were gonna say a less appealing dream.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was gonna go all the way.
Let's do it again.
Territory.
But his dream of hiking the famous mountain soon turned into a slightly less bad dream.
Slightly less bad. Cool. That's
Yeah.
good. It means it's slightly.
We're talking about survival, dude. Because worst case scenario, you die in Mount Everest. You going up, you die. This guy did not die. Obviously, it's how they survive. So there's no fucking spoiler. So he was part of an 8-member crew led by a veteran mountaineer Rob Hall.
Anybody ever told this guy he looks like a penis with that little hat on?
Well, I don't think. Yeah, if you would actually, Paul, you would exist at the time. You could have said that, but as we'll find out, his fate.
I don't give a fuck if he does climb Mount Everest for a goddamn living. He looks like a penis with that little hat on. He should wear a different hat.
Oh, he'd actually done it several times. By this point in his career, which is 1996, Hall had already conquered the 7 summits, the highest mountain on each of the 7 continents.
Meh.
So he'd done them all.
Meh.
Pretty accomplished guy.
I ain't fucking impressed. He still looks like a penis with that little hat on there.
Yeah. Looks like a fucking uncircumcised dick.
Call me when you've climbed like every fucking tallest mountain in the world, and then I'll be impressed. Little penis hat guy.
Well, he did.
Oh.
Well, call me when you've done it without a penis-looking fucking hat.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know about that. That caveat added in. That might not have been able to make that one because he already, like I said, he had already done the 7 summits, which is the highest mountain on each of the 7 continents. I mean, he was legit. So Hall pictured here in the lead on the morning of May 10th, 1996. Weather's journey seemed like it was off to a pretty good start. The weather was clear. Everyone was happy. Yeah, we're gonna fucking reach the summit of Everest. Yeah. But of course, things, as they do in stories like this, took a turn for the worst.
Cool. I mean, bad. I mean,
well, I said worse, actually for worse. As the group ascended farther up the mountain, Weathers realized couldn't see very well in the snow due to a previous eye surgery. Whoops.
Was the sun glaring off of this dude's penis hat? I bet that's what it was.
And once it began to get dark out, he could barely see at all. And, normally that probably wouldn't be too big of a deal, but he's trying to climb Mount Everest, so it's life or death. If you fuck up here, you die. Near the summit, Hall told Weathers to stay on the side of the trail while he took the group up to the top. He assured Weathers they would pick him up on the way back down. And Weathers, what's he going to do? This guy's leading the fucking expedition. He has to agree. He's like, all right, I guess I'll fucking stay down here. As he waited, other groups passed him on their way down and offered to take him with him. Despite the increasingly harsh condition, Weathers stayed. He's like, no, I'm going to wait they're coming back for me. Unfortunately for Weathers, Hall would never come back. Upon reaching the summit, now this is the group with Hall, a climber, Doug Hansen, had become too weak to carry on. So he made it to the summit, but that's about it. He was spent. And Hall refused to leave his side. Here's where it gets dicey, guys. At 5 p.m., a blizzard struck the southwest face of Everest, diminishing visibility and obliterating the trail back to Camp 4, which we're about to see in a second, the camp. Actually, we might be able to pull that up. That's actually another guy. Actually, we'll go here because I want to show you guys this. So here's the summit, if you guys are looking. Obviously, the top of the mountain. Camp 4, so the summit's at 29,028 feet. Camp 4 is 26,000 feet. So they have to go down 3,000 feet, essentially, to get back to this camp. And as you can see, that's not going to be fucking easy. Especially when a blizzard hits.
It's always easy to go down.
You just like get a sled.
Yeah.
Oh, just sled down? Oh, it's just that easy, huh?
And
it's the uphill that's hard. I mean, I've been hiking before. I know what it's like.
Yeah.
Downhill walk is the easy part. Just walk on down. Bunch of pussies.
I like to see how you fare in a blizzard on Mount Everest, TJ.
Yeah. I'd like to see how my hair would fare in a blizzard. Fucking Klobuchar. Why? You bring up that fucking... whatever.
I had to do it. They were talking about a blizzard. So, of course, the trail.
You should leave
back-
her on top of Mount Everest and just fucking fly away. You know what I mean?
Snow Woman would be fun.
She'd be fine, dude.
Well, like when they get up to the top of this bitch, why don't they wingsuit off of this motherfucker? And
Oh, that'd be so cool.
you know what I mean?
That's like
Yeah,
some
dude,
Mission Impossible
dude.
shit, dude. Like Tom Cruise goes to the summit of Everest. So unfortunately for these guys, a blizzard hits the southwest face of Everest, which we can see here.
How did their
Hall-
hair fare in that blizzard?
Not very well.
Oh, shit.
Hall radioed for help, saying that Hansen had fallen unconscious but was still alive. Adventurous consultant's guide Andy Harris began climbing to the Hillary Step at 5:30 p.m. with water and supplementary oxygen.
Okay.
On May 11th at 4:43 a.m., close to 12 hours after the blizzard had started, Hall radioed down and said that he was on the south summit. He reported to Harris that that Harris had reached the two men, but that Hansen had died sometime during the night, and then Harris was missing as well. Hall was not breathing bottled oxygen because his regulator was too choked with ice. By 9 a.m., Hall had fixed his oxygen mask, but indicated his frostbitten hands and feet were making it difficult to traverse the fixed ropes. Later that afternoon, he radioed base camp asking them to call his wife, Jan Arnold, on the satellite phone. During this last communication, he reassured her that he was reasonably comfortable and told her, "Sleep well, my sweetheart. Please don't worry too much." And he died shortly thereafter. His body was found on May 23rd by mountaineers from the IMAX expedition, and still remains just below the south summit. Yeah, that's a fun fact. If you die in Everest, your body's pretty much going to stay there.
Yeah, they gonna waste resources getting your dumb ass. Hey, some rich moron died trying to climb Everest again. All right.
Well, he was just this. Rob Hall was a super experienced mountaineer from New Zealand. He had done this many times. Most of the people that knew him believe the only reason he died was because he stayed behind to try to help this guy. Like he would have made it back down, but he was like, "I'm gonna make sure this guy makes it."
Now sucks to be him. Sucks to be him.
But that just makes what happens even crazier. So let's go back to Beck Weathers, who we're talking about. So that just shows you like an experienced mountaineer can die very easily on Everest. Like someone that had climbed the tallest mountain on every continent, no problem. He's dead in a matter of hours. So Weathers waited for another member of the team on his way down, which is Mike Groom. So Groom, pictured here, was Hall's fellow team leader who had also scaled Everest in the past. Taking Weathers with him, Groom and the other climbers tried to make their way down, but at the same time, of course, the same blizzard we talked about was brewing. Due to the storm, Weathers and several others became disoriented and couldn't find Camp 4, the camp that was closest to the summit, which we saw was about 3,000 feet from the summit. So, not easy. Not too easy to get to. And of course, here it is pictured here. Here's Camp 4. That's not too bad. You got a blizzard going on the top of this mountain. You somehow got to make it down. Don't worry, though. You'll be fine. By the time there was a break in the storm, Weathers was feeling so weak that he and 4 other climbers were left behind so those who were stronger could find help. Not a good sign. And totally, Bokarev, who was a guide on another expedition, came and rescued several climbers, but Weathers wasn't there. And as it turned out, Weathers had lost one of his gloves and began obviously really feeling the effects of high altitude and freezing temperatures. Delirious, he stood up and got to his feet and screamed, "I've got this all figured out!" Then gale force winds threw Weathers from his feet. He toppled away from the other climbers, who were sure he was gone forever. He stands up, he screams this, and the winds just blow him away. It's like, okay, I guess he's dead. But in almost like a movie-like fashion, and by the way, they actually did make a movie of what happened during this expedition. As it turned out, oh, actually, no, we actually read that part. Weathers didn't die, but he did spend the night in an open bivouac. Bivouac. Thank you, Paul. Bivouac. This is one of the ways people bivouac here. They do it. They hang from the side of the mountain. But actually, what he slept in was more akin to this.
Just a dumbass hole in the snow.
This is basically an emergency bivouac.
Is the movie they made about this called Expedition Dipshit?
It might have been.
Does the guy that plays Mr. Bean play the main character that survives all this shit?
I think it's actually Josh Brolin or something like that. Yeah.
I guess Mr. Bean wasn't available.
He might have been busy. So he spent a night in conditions like this on Everest during a blizzard, with his hands and face exposed to the elements. When he woke up, his mind raced as he realized that he had been left for dead, which is a fun game, by the way. This was not a dream, he recalled thinking. This was real, and I'm starting to think, I'm on the mountain, but I don't have a clue where I'm at. If I don't get up, if I don't stand, if I don't start thinking about where I am and how to get out of here, this is going to be over very quickly. Well, yeah, I would assume so. But thanks to Weather's sheer willpower to survive, he managed to walk his ass down to Camp 4 on his own.
I mean,
His
that's
fellow
pretty
climbers,
fucking,
obviously.
That's impressive.
Yeah, his fellow climbers were obviously pretty shocked to see him. And later said that his frozen hand and nose looked like they were made of porcelain.
Shit.
This man had no face, one witness recalled. It was completely black, solid black, like he had a crust over him.
Oof, a lot of fucking, that's pretty offensive, honestly. Oh, blackface. Wow, canceled. Hashtag canceled. That's not acceptable. This is 2021, sir.
Well, that's the tissue had been rotted.
Right. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Is his face black?
No.
Is that acceptable to you? It's not acceptable to me. What is this, a fucking minstrel show here?
Yeah.
Get the fuck lost.
It's a little soft shoe coming. Huh?
No.
Little Uncle Tom's Cabin.
This guy didn't paint his face, though. This is how his face looks because of he was exposed.
That's even worse. That's even worse, because at least with paint, it could be fucking wiped away.
Yeah, your sins can be washed away if you just paint yourself black. But this dude did the most extreme blackface.
He went fucking. This is extreme blackface right here. This guy's a fucking offensive piece of shit. Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. Sorry.
Of course, even though he made it back down to Camp 4, they did not expect him to live. They're just like, let's make him comfortable. He's gonna die. Yet he persevered through another freezing night alone in a tent in utter agony. Obviously, look at the extent of his injuries. This is actually when he's actually been returned home. Though he cried for help, the storm drowned out his pleas. And of course, the climbers were all shocked to see he was both alive and coherent the next day. Yet again, they expected him to be worm food. For a second time, he defied expectations because when people go up on the mountain like this, you just don't survive this kind of event. It doesn't happen. Like as we saw, Rob Hall, he died. The guy who was trying to help, he died just of exhaustion, basically. This is an incredible story. I mean, like, there's, I think, hundreds of bodies on Everest that they've never recovered. So,
you know who's never going to be one of them?
Some of those bodies, by the way, are landmarks. Like
they are
on the trail. Like there's people whose bodies have been up there for so long that they've been landmarks.
Yeah, you do like selfies with them and shit.
Look, it's this dead dude. So finally, Weathers was able, with help, to walk on frozen feet to a lower camp where he became the subject of one of the highest altitude medical evacuations ever performed by a helicopter. Which I think was roughly, they got him, if we can go back, I can show you guys. I think they picked him up on, let's see what camp it was. I think they picked him up around Camp 1 or base camp, maybe. I'm not sure which one it was, but I think it was Camp 1 is where they
one
got
of them
him.
camps. That's crazy.
Around 20,000 feet up.
That's crazy, Scotty. You know what that is, Scotty? Crazy.
It is pretty fucking crazy, dude.
It's crazy, Scotty. It's fucking crazy.
For people in Weather's group, obviously it was a very deadly night. So of the 8 people that set out,
what
happened?
Scotty
for
died.
The 8 people, what? I'm fucking shiver with Antissa. Patient.
Scotty done died again.
Scotty abandons us mid-episode, just like, all right, well, I'll make up what happened next. And then Amy Klobuchar showed up, and she was like, let's see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. And she rode off into the sunset.
Whoa,
and everyone
TJ,
happily ever after.
Your hand looks like it climbed Everest. Look at it.
Yeah, look at my hand.
It climbed Everest.
My hand alone climbed Everest. This hand is adventurous. It's like Thing from the Addams Family. It's like I woke up. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Oh, I'm on Everest again.
Fucking hand.
I fucking hate you.
What the fuck are you doing, TJ?
I don't know. I was trying to fucking fill dead air. Paul went to pee. You were dead.
Dude, right at the end of it too. What's the last thing you heard from me?
Last thing we heard was that that dude got fucking raped by Amy Klobuchar wearing a giant icicle strap on. Yeah.
Though Beck Weathers escaped with his life, his body was broken, TJ. They break his body. Severe frostbite. His right arm, his left hand fingers, part of his nose, and several pieces of his feet all had to be amputated.
Yeah, it looks bad.
Though incredibly, doctors were able to fashion him a new nose out of skin from his neck and his ear. And that's how he looks now.
Yeah.
He
and
looks
you know what
pretty cool to me.
I will say this. We were making fun of his penis hat earlier, but his hair does seem like it fared in that blizzard.
Well, the penis hat guy was Rob Hall, who did not survive.
He didn't survive. Dick hat guy, even though he'd climbed every goddamn mountain, he croaked, and this dork survived.
The stork made it. Let's see. We actually, that's Rob Hall. This is him.
Yeah. Adam Sandler.
Well, he's not wearing a penis hat.
Fared wear on that blizzard. So send that to Klobuchar. Let her know.
Will do. And those, gentlemen, are the stories of survival I have for you tonight. Obviously, a very easy episode to make a sequel to this because plenty of incredible tales of survival.
Indeed.
No. Half of them were cats. You're a cheater.
Scotty likes cats, and you know what? So do I.
How come there's no dog survival story?
There's plenty of those. Hey, if you like this episode, TJ, I expect to see your comment amongst the comments demanding a sequel.
You goddamn right. You goddamn right, boy.
All else is just salt.
So I'll tell you this: of all these things, these animals and people survived. Mount Everest, nope. I think I'd be worm food. I'd be like, fuck this shit. I'm dead. Surviving 2 nukes, I'm dead. 3 shipwrecks are being sunk, I'm dead.
Dude, let me tell you something. Dead. 2 nukes. I survived that shit because I got a layer of blubber. The first nuke would have burned my first blubber layer. The second nuke would have penetrated to my second blubber layer, but the third would remain intact. And then it would shut off, and I actually would be more healthy because of the nukes, number 1. Number 2, if I was that cat, that dumbass fucking cat on the boats, I wouldn't have been on the boats to begin with. My ass would have been on dry-ass fucking land. So let me tell you a fucking story.
Let me tell you a fucking story.
What?
I was sailing up Mount Everest when my boat sank at the summit. And then the entire mountain was launched into space and 2 nukes were fired at me simultaneously. And you know what? I survived all that shit and I'm still here today. So I ain't impressed with none of these motherfuckers.
I'm still standing.
That is pretty impressive.
I ain't impressed with one single one of these motherfuckers because I've been through all that shit simultaneously, bitch.
I mean, wow. If you survived all that, then yeah, these stories are nothing to you. This is like another day in your life. Like I did that last Thursday.
That was Tuesday for me.
I knew you were going there, dude. I
don't mean shit. No, I'd be dead in literally any of those scenarios. So
yeah, most of us would be.
I'm standing by my word. I would have survived each one of those fucking things.
Hey, if you stand by it, whatever, man. It is what it is.
While you were gone, I told TJ I would have snowboarded down the fucking Everest. Duh.
Well, of course. I mean, why not?
Snowboard down up there. That guy that died, just like
I will say this:
going surfing.
Whenever reality, Scotty, TJ, and Paul are these mountaineer types, we ain't staying behind to help the dude. Our asses are making. All right, buddy, I'm gonna give you some help.
like you guys hear something? Help me, please! No, I can't hear shit.
Oh, check on that.
Let's hit the summit, boys.
Dude, Everest, that would be a plot. You know what about horror movies, Paul? You convince your best friend or someone you want to kill, like, hey, let's go up to Everest, because that's a place you can leave someone for dead. And I mean,
that's true.
No one's going to blame you.
Contradict you if it's just you and him climbing a mountain. Just mountain climbing in general is a good way to do that. But Everest would be a good setting.
Ah, that'd be cool. Well, like I said, that's all I got, fellas. So that's it. You don't have to go home, but you can't fucking stay here.
Deep bad pride. Deep bad pride.